Yeah. Oh, now it just says live.
Ooh.
Mine doesn't.
Oh. Yeah, mine just turned yellow.
Now it does.
Just delayed reaction.
Dang, I'm bright.
Oh, man. It's nice out here, but it's humid.
Oh, yeah. The joys of Florida.
I love it.
Do you? See, I grew up in Florida, so I'm like, no, let's escape the humidity.
Oh, yeah, I can't stand it. It's terrible.
You guys are crazy. I just came from, well, when did I move here? From Indiana. It's cold up there, so it's starting to get cold now. I think you guys can have that pumpkin spice. Take it. I have passion fruit green tea. Totally fine with that.
I'll be right back.
Okay, I'm logged in. This is good. Hold on one second. I gotta take this down for a sec. Sorry.
No worries.
Okay. Now I'm too dark. What the heck? Bear with me. Okay. Okay, I'm ready. That's as good as it gets this time.
$10 viewers. Who's here?
Oh, awesome.
Oh, I gotta get to the chat.
How come they're not showing up on my pop-out chat? What the heck? I don't know. It's live chat.
Yeah.
Hi, Renee. Hi, Jackie.
Just gonna do it this way.
Ashley, how was your month? I haven't talked to you since the last live show.
I know, it was good. It's going good. I feel like the month of September kind of like got away from me. But I don't know, it was kind of like one of those months where it was like one thing after another. So I feel like I didn't get as much reading done as I probably would have liked, but it was good. Good.
I read so many books this month and I don't know how I fit it in.
Awesome. I need to read more audiobooks because I find the months that I find a lot of audiobooks are the ones I can read a ton. So I need to do that better. But I didn't read too many audiobooks this month, and I think that's why I didn't read as many books.
Well, I read so many books because I did a lot of audiobooks. So yeah.
Yeah.
There it is.
I read so many books because I did a lot of audiobooks. So what? Somebody has.
Sorry, I'm trying to pull up the chat. I thought I had the chat in a pop-out window, but it wasn't doing what it's supposed to do. Okay. Hey, Jackie. Hey, Renee. Hey, Melinda. Hey, Whitney. Hey, everybody. Okay. I feel like I should be saying something important.
Yeah, you want to go ahead and get started? What time is it?
Sure. I guess, do you want to wait to see if anybody else pops in?
Shannon's not going to make it because it's her family dinner night, and we moved it an hour. So maybe we should keep it at 8 o'clock.
Okay.
So she's not going to make it. She won't be home in time.
Who?
Shannon.
Oh, Shannon. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Well.
Whitney, did you read the book, or are you just coming in to say hi? I can't believe Whitney and I haven't talked about it. I didn't realize that she read it.
Oh. I should turn this way. No, if I do that, I can't see. Details. Yes. Okay, well, here we are. Hi, everybody. Did everybody read the book? Yeah, I'm not doing real well. I peopled so well today earlier at church. You know, I told Mark, I'm peopling really well today. Some days I can, other days no. So yeah, sorry. I should be doing this a lot better. But yeah, ooh, too many things falling over. Did everybody read this?
Mm-hmm.
Can you believe I have a physical copy? Yes.
This book.
Actually got a copy. Woo! This is so great because it's got these discussion questions at the end of the book. So, the discussion we're going to have, because I marked mine all up.
Yeah, I actually marked mine a little bit, which is unusual. I usually don't mark books. But this one I just put like tabby things in because there's a couple of spots I'm like, ooh, that's good. So I wanted to mark it down.
So what'd you think overall? What'd you rate it?
Well, I rated it a 4, a solid 4. But I didn't love it as much. This was probably my least favorite of Kristan Higgins.
And why?
It's still a 4-star. I mean, I like it a lot. So yeah, it just wasn't my favorite.
I really liked it. I thought it was I enjoyed it a lot. I mean, it was definitely a kind of like a gut-wrenching, another like emotional read. But I really enjoyed it. I mean, I wasn't sure if I was going to like the subject matter once I read what it was more about, just because, I don't know, I think everyone has like really personal opinions about some of the stuff that they were talking about in the book. But I actually really liked it, and I enjoyed it. I liked the characters, and I thought that their growth was really nice. I really enjoyed it, and it was one I just couldn't put down. So yeah, I think I gave it I want to say I gave it a 5. I'm pretty sure I did give it a 5. It was like a 4.5 or a 5.
I gave it a 5. I rounded it up because the problems I had with it were weighted toward positively. I mean, I had some, what do I want to say? I have some criticisms of it, but they didn't weigh as much as Kristan Higgins. Because I don't know. I always love the way she handles things in her books, and I'm a huge fan. So, yeah. This
was the first book I read by her. So I'm going to,
really?
I actually just bought another one though, because I liked this one so much that I wanted to pick something else up. So yeah, I really enjoyed her writing style. But yeah, I hadn't read anything, so I kind of had no background knowledge of her writing or anything, which maybe that helped. I don't know.
Well, these are completely different. Her last 3 novels, are they the last 3 ones that are not part of a series? They're more like women's fiction.
Yeah.
Where her older stuff that are part of the series is romance, and they're hilarious. She is just, Kristan Higgins is so funny. So pick up her romance too. Those are my favorite.
That's what I picked up. I picked up what's it called, like The Best Man, I think is the first one. Yeah. So I just bought those, or like the first 2. So I'm gonna try those out.
That's the Blue Heron series, Jen.
Yeah,
that's our favorite.
Yeah, it is. It's my favorite. And
when you get to book 5, it made me bawl my eyes out.
Oh.
5? I thought you liked book 3 the best. Waiting on You.
3 and 5. 3 and 5 are my favorite because those are the sister and brother.
Yeah, I like 3 also. But I got to tell you, in book 1, there's a scene in that. You'll know when you come to it, but it's straight out of Andy Griffith, Mayberry. And I really was, it was so funny. I sat at the breakfast table and read it to my mom and dad. My dad wants nothing to do with reading at all. He always leaves the room when my mom and I start talking. And I sat there and read it to them. They were laughing their heads off, falling off the chairs, laughing. It was so funny.
Those are the best kinds. Okay, yeah. I'm really looking forward to it. Yeah, I found it the other day when I was out, so I picked it up.
Yeah, she can just write a scene, you know?
She can.
It's like you're watching it on television or on a movie or something. So huge fan of hers.
So we got Jackie rated it. I think Jackie so far is our lowest. She rated it 2 stars, which
what?
I'm impressed though that Jackie read this because this is not Jackie's kind of book. So I'm really proud of her for giving it a shot. She loves fantasy. Renee, everybody else, I don't think they gave it less than 4.5.
Oh, Melinda, you gave it 5. Yeah.
I know Shannon gave it 3.5.
Oh, good.
But
I'm sorry, I'm reading comments here.
Yeah, me too.
Yeah. Renee, you know what scene I'm talking about then? Yeah, with the chicken.
Oh my gosh.
Oh my gosh, I thought I was going to die laughing at that. Hey, Michael. Oh my gosh. Melinda, this was your first book of hers. Wow. Was she, yeah, this is a lot more women's fiction. And her, like Lisa was saying, her last 3 books have been much more that way than, and the relationship kind of structure is different than the previous books where she was doing solid romance. But yeah, I don't care. It's all good. Yeah. So shall we get into this?
Yeah, let's do it.
We have got some things. Well, okay. So first of all, Synopsis. This is a book about 3 women who meet as teenagers at a fat camp. I guess that's what you would call it. That's what she calls it in the book. But where they are encouraged to get healthy and move, exercise, eat well, and everything else. And so their last year to do that, they're all floating around in the lake. And I loved the idea that she hit on straight away, where she said they were all floating and it didn't matter what size you were, because when you were floating, you just felt like, you know, like a fairy flying, like a princess, you know? I love that. I thought that was a really good analogy, and I'm glad she began with that and then launched into everything from there.
So yeah, you're saying the synopsis. So they originally went to weight loss camp, and then they aged out, so they couldn't go back because they were too old.
Right.
And that's how they became best friends, and you know, they stayed friendships forever. And one of them, at the beginning of the book, we know right away, even in the synopsis, that she died because she pretty much ate herself to death. I think she was over 600 pounds when she died, and pretty much her heart just stopped. So then the girls are reflecting, I guess, on their friendship in their life, and how important is it to not be overweight, or, you know, being comfortable in their own skin and all that. And I think she did a really good job exploring that.
Mm-hmm. I did too.
Sorry about that.
They all made this list of things that they wanted to do when they were older. And so they took that list. I don't forget how they found the list, but it was after Emerson had died. It's Emerson, Marley, and Georgia. And it was after Emerson had died, and they found this list, and Marley and Georgia agreed that they're going to try and accomplish the things on the list. And one of the things I loved was the fact that this list wasn't about when we get skinny. It was all about when we get older. So that made a huge difference, I think.
Yeah, what was that list again? Let me look at it. Yeah, you're right.
It's like a bucket list, kind of.
It was more the list of, it doesn't matter our size, let's go out and be brave enough.
Yeah, I think it was also like I thought the whole point of the list too was,
it is. Things we'll do when we're skinny.
Yeah, I was going to say, I think it was to be like, I'm not skinny, but I still am going to do all these things that typical like skinny people, I'm using air quotes, would do. So I don't know. I liked the list. I thought it was like a nice like kickoff point for them. The only thing that like a little bit bugged me about the friendship, which I think was addressed in the book, was just, it did seem a little bit like, you know, Georgia and Marley were so close and then Emerson wasn't, but I think that was due to the circumstances of her kind of, you know, falling off the wagon, kind of that kind of thing. But sometimes those are really hard scenes to read, like her diary entries. I'm not gonna lie, I skimmed about 2 or 3 of them because they were just
completely unnecessary.
Right?
I don't feel like that added.
Oh, I thought it added a lot. I liked
I didn't think
the way they did that.
The diary entries, I didn't like it.
I mean, I thought I liked that you got to know Emerson, but at the same time, they were harder for me to read than any of the other stuff, just because it was kind of like watching someone spiral, but you know that they're not getting out of the spiral because you already know the end result.
Yeah.
So I think that was why it was hard, because if it had been like, oh, they may come out of it, I think I would have liked him a little bit more.
I never got a sense of what Emerson looked like when I was reading those. Or well, for me, it was when I was listening to them.
I kept picturing like what is that? My
My 600-pound life.
Yeah, that's what I call it.
Yeah.
She didn't sound like that to me in her diary.
So?
Like, no.
Oh, in diary.
No. As I was getting to know her, I didn't have this mental picture of her as a size person in my mind. It was just
that's
she
good,
was just a
because I don't
person.
think you should. I think that's a good thing that you didn't. I think
Yeah.
that's good writing, because you're not supposed to listen to her story and just automatically see this vivid image of her being overweight. But I did. I saw it. And I don't know if it's because I'm overweight now, and I've been overweight on and off my whole entire life. So I don't know if I pictured it, because that scared me. Ashley, are you overweight, Ashley?
Yes. Yeah. And so I think that's why I was a little bit like, it
scared me.
It was a little interesting going into this book, because I was like, okay, I don't know if I'm going to like the way it was addressed, because I mean, I would consider myself like overweight. But it is an interesting concept too. And I think we talked about this before, like the whole concept of that too. And it was like the girls were talking, like they were overweight, but then she was kind of a different kind of overweight, but it was a little scary too to think about, like how quickly she seemed to kind of go down that rabbit hole. So
yeah, well, that kind of brings us kind of around to one of the questions that I wanted to start with, which is the fact that Marley and Georgia, we didn't ever get a specific number as to how much they weighed. We got a general sense of what they looked like, but not really anything beyond that. And I liked that. I feel like if I had had that description, I would have been picturing someone differently than I would have getting to know them just as people, as characters. Without that.
I'm sorry. What was the question, Jen? I was looking at comments. I didn't hear you. I'm sorry.
The author chose not to. I'll just read it. The author chose not to reveal the exact weights and sizes of Georgia and Marley, and so you had to draw your own conclusions. Do you think that that was a good thing or not? Would you rather have known or not?
I don't think it matters, because I do have to say that I did think about. I was like, I wonder how tall she is and how much she weighs. And then at the end of the book, when I read these questions, I was like, you know what? She did that on purpose, not telling us. I guess I just looked at them like, I don't even know how to explain, like a normal plus size girl. Like they could get around. I didn't picture them like my 600-pound life.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, me either.
Right. It was an interesting idea, and I think she definitely did that on purpose, obviously, to kind of leave it up to the audience too. But I think in general too, it is hard when you give like a specific size too, and it's kind of hard to tell even then what someone actually looks like, because I don't know if any of you guys have ever gone like shopping with someone, especially if they don't know your size. They'll give you stuff and you're like, that is not going to fit, because they don't think you're that size. You know what I mean? And so I think it's like, it's just like a misconception, I think, because especially if it's a friend, they're viewing you as like their friend. They're not thinking about what's that pant size you're wearing. So I don't know. I thought that was interesting, but in the end, it didn't really matter. But I mean, you just had this picture of like, Marley was a little bit bigger, but still really healthy. And then you had Georgia, who was slightly smaller. So.
And getting smaller because of
which one was the cook? I keep on getting them mixed up.
Marley.
That was Marley. Mm-hmm.
I love her. She was my favorite.
If I had a picture of them, then I would have taken it completely differently. Probably. I don't know. I'm glad I didn't have that. I'm really glad, because I didn't have anything to see past. I didn't have to deal with any of the visuals. And because I listened to it on audio, they were so spot on. The narrators nailed their characters just perfectly. And Lisa, I know you didn't care for the audio.
I don't like Itsy Sands.
No, I really do. So I thought she was a perfect Marley. Did you listen to any of the audiobook at all? Ashley?
I didn't. No, I read the whole thing. Yeah, I read it. So maybe that also kind of is how you depict them differently versus, written versus audio. But yeah, I mean, I think it was this book a lot was about like self-image. So I think in that way it really was just trying to and I saw a comment just came through too about how we're always a harsher critic on ourselves. And some people are harsher critics than anyone else. So that's definitely true.
That's really true. Yeah, we are our own worst critics.
Yeah,
it's definitely true. One of the questions here is, how do you think body image affects women who aren't overweight? That's a good question, because it calls into question what is overweight. And we three were talking about this before, but Lisa, you didn't approach that as a specific size. Like you didn't. When I read that question, what do I consider overweight? I thought it was asking me about a number and like a size or an amount. And you didn't take it that way at all. You took it completely.
I don't look at somebody being overweight as a number. And I also, in the medical field, I know that the BMI is a great average if you want to see if you're overweight or not. But we don't go by that, because I know people that are exceed the average BMI and they're actually not even overweight at all. So I think of it more as like my self-image for myself. I am overweight, but I'm overweight because I don't feel comfortable in my clothes. So that's, to me, how you define overweight. You don't feel comfortable in your clothes. You might not go out because you don't have an outfit that will fit or look good. I think all of us that are overweight have been there, even probably skinny people. I mean, I was telling Jen, so I think overweight is more defined on how you feel in your own skin. Like, is it stopping you from living your everyday life? For instance, just as simple as when I was really, probably about this size right now, I was like, do I even want to go to an amusement park? Am I going to fit in one of those? Like, those kind of things stop people from living their life. And that is what, to me, means you're overweight. If it's handicapping you in your everyday life.
Yeah. I love that idea.
Health-wise too. I mean, we all know you need to be healthy, and the bigger you are, 600 pounds, whatever Emerson was, your heart can't handle that. So you need to, I mean, if it's important to you to live a long and healthy life, then you need to lose weight. So you obviously, health conditions will, classify if you're overweight or not too, but I don't see it as a number.
Yeah, I mean, I think it is a really personal thing, the way that everyone looks at overweight or like what that means. I agree. A lot of it is about like, are you able to live your life? Like, is it stopping you from, if you go on to do X, Y, and Z? And I think also, like you said, we were talking earlier about just health-wise. We were talking too how there's a lot of people who are not overweight, but are probably less healthy. There's a lot of people out there who do eat junk food all day and never exercise, and they are really small and they're really unhealthy. Mm-hmm. But I think they're viewed a different way than someone who, like Marley in the book, she was overweight. She would consider herself overweight, but she was okay with that because she exercised all the time and she ate really well. So she was healthy. So I just think it's a mixed bag when you look at it. You can't necessarily look at someone and know for sure based on their weight, their health
Here's the
benefits.
thing about Marley. I think if she went into a medical facility and she was seen by a doctor, she would be told that I hate the word big boned, but I think she is a big bone girl. I bet you she is not overweight. She's probably extremely healthy, but the world makes her feel like,
right.
And she's been fighting that her whole life, because I really think she's probably, she sounded to me like she was in a really great, healthy spot weight wise. Mm-hmm. Maybe she's never, no matter what she does, she'll never be a size 8 or a size 10. She'll might be a size 12. I don't know what she was. To me, I thought it was size 12 for her for some reason. That's just going to be how her body is shaped. I mean, sometimes it's genetics, people. It's not always what you put in your mouth.
Yeah, that's what we were talking about too, that a lot of it is genetics. I mean, not all of it, of course. It definitely, if you eat badly, it's going to come back on you at some point, probably, one way or another.
Trust me, It will.
So,
it will.
But the other way, you know, I think a lot of it is genetics. You know, if it's in your family lines, I mean, you're fighting an uphill battle is like what I like to say. You know, it's not impossible to be a size 2, but it's going to be a lot harder than, you know, if you had parents that were also very small. So.
That's so true. And, you know, I've had, because I'm older, I have things that are going on with my body as I age that stand in the way of me doing things. Like they interfere with my life. And I love that idea, Lisa, that if it's interfering with my life, then it's significant. And so oddly enough, I got up this morning to go to church and I couldn't find anything I liked. Everything looked horrible on me. I thought, of all days to have this happen, you know? And I don't know. I think, like you say, are you comfortable in your own skin? Because I'm not right now. I'm not. And I think most people would not call me overweight. And yet for me, I am at the very top of where I've always been. So, you know, it's it's a hard thing to judge one person to the next. But I love that idea that, you know, you're not comfortable in your own skin and your clothes don't fit. So for me, that means I'm overweight.
And it's more than that. Again, it's health. Like, is it hurting your heart? I mean, that's the major thing with being obese, right? Your heart has to pump more and you're putting strain on the muscle and all that. So yeah, it's like not being, I don't feel comfortable in my own clothes, or I don't feel so good being in a bathing suit anymore. But you know what? I feel super comfortable in my own skin. Like, I know I need to lose weight. I'm not stupid, you guys. I know I do. And I want to. But obviously it hasn't been that big of a deal to me over the last 2 months because I haven't done anything to do it. And I feel like I'm really in a good place. I'm happy. And I'm also one of those people that, like, I'm fat and happy. When I'm really depressed, I get super skinny. Like, I can't eat. So wow. A lot of people think, like, oh my God, she eats so much because she's so sad and miserable. Well, it's quite the opposite for me.
Yeah, but that's a good point, though, too, is that, like, I think the book, too, it was a lot about self, like, what do you think about yourself, you know? And I think as I've gotten older, I've gotten more comfortable with myself. Not to say, like, I don't want to lose weight, but I think it's become, like, less of a focal point, maybe. You know, like, it's gonna, like, yes, I try and eat healthy and you try and exercise, but, like, you know, if you don't do that for a week, the world's not going to stop spinning, you know, or that kind of thing. And I think there is a difference between wanting to be healthy, but also having a good self-image. And I don't think, I like the idea that you shouldn't wait to be skinny to, like, love yourself, because I think there's a lot of, like, stuff out there that's like, oh, we're going to do this when we're skinny, or, like, we're going to get to this one day, you know, when we're skinny. Well, like, really? Because you might as well get to it now, because you don't know if that day is going to come. So I liked that idea.
I did too. I really like that a lot. It definitely inspired. This book inspired me a lot too. It scared the shit out of me, to be honest, because I think you can gain weight that easy. I mean, it comes on like that, and to get it off is so hard.
Yep.
And yeah, I mean, okay, so what did you guys think about? I know, Jen, do you want to ask another question? I was going to ask about the guys in the book because I just love them.
No, go ahead. Go ahead. We'll get back to other stuff that I wanted to bring up. But go ahead. And I have to tell you the classic thing of you know, you have clothes in your closet that you're just gonna keep those around, because when you lose weight, you're gonna wear. I have finally started going, forget it. No, I'll buy new clothes. This is stupid. Why would I have those in my closet if I can't wear them? I can't fit into them. So
Abby said the other day, she's like, Mom, what are you doing? I'm like, I'm trying to find something weird. She's like, you have a whole closet full. I'm like, no, you don't get it. All those clothes don't fit me. Then why do you have them? Someday.
So what were you going to say about the guys?
Oh, I was going to, when we were talking off camera, we were talking about the guys, and somebody, was it Michael that mentioned the nephew? We never brought up the nephew in our conversation.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh,
he was
such
a doll.
Yeah.
And what was his name? Because he's not even listed, I don't think, in the question.
Yeah, I think
what was his name?
Evan? Is it Evan? No.
Oh, I thought that was the gay brother's husband.
Oh, it could have been.
Hold on, I'm trying to see if I can find it in the book.
Yeah. Go to the part where he's at the track meet.
Yeah.
That's a...
He's in it a lot, though.
Does anybody know what Mason? His name is Mason.
I thought it was an M.
Okay. Yes, thank you, Jodi.
Yeah. And I thought that was something else that she like handled pretty well. Like that was the whole taking all of the Tylenol, and was it suicide or attempted suicide, or was it just not? I personally thought that was handled pretty well. I mean, I've read other books that I haven't liked how they've handled that kind of thing, especially with teenagers. So I don't know. Personally, I thought I was glad they finally had that conversation though with him, that Georgia talked to him near the end of the book, because at first I thought they were just going to leave it hanging, like was it or was it not? And so I was kind of relieved they had that conversation.
Because I can't remember. Now, how was that? Did he do it on purpose?
He said that he just wanted to go to rest. Like he didn't actually want to kill himself. He just wanted to stop for a little while. So I guess you can interpret that how you want, but I took it as
probably true.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
And now it's coming back to, I remember thinking I like the way she wrote that too, because you might just take enough. I don't think a lot of people who overdose actually want to die.
No.
And it probably was true. I mean, God, could you imagine living with that father? What?
I know. Awful. I mean, I think all of us, a lot of people would be tempted to do something similar if you have that on your back 24/7. I mean, whether it's right or not,
I couldn't do it. God, this is Georgia's family, right?
Mm-hmm.
I don't know why I get Marley and Georgia screwed up. So anyway, I just wanted to bring up Mason because I loved that kid, and I loved Marley for bringing, Georgia. Wait a minute. Who?
Yeah,
Who
Georgia.
was the aunt? I can't.
It's Georgia.
Georgia. I loved how Georgia, God, she was just such a great person. I don't know how she wasn't bitter. She was just really sweet, and she really wanted to be there for Mason and take care of him. And, it wasn't her kid. She didn't have to do that because she had to. I mean, to think that she had to deal with that annoying, just god-awful brother just to be able to see her nephew. To me, I mean, I don't know if I could have done it, but because he was abusive. He was terrible.
Yeah, we had mentioned that, and I was like, that's borderline. I think they even said it in the book, like mental abuse. Like that's not just like a hard dad on his kid on the sports team. Like I think it's more than that. So yeah, I think she was a case of like, let's rise above it. But I mean, that takes a really strong person to rise above that much.
I agree. I thought she was wonderful.
Yeah.
She never sank to his level. She never really did, although she did tell him off there at the end.
Finally.
Thank goodness. Yeah.
Like,
and you know what? Moving on from Mason and Hunter, Michael brought up the fact that I didn't know this about Emerson's friend who was known as a feeder, the guy that she got involved with that would just like feed her.
Oh, yeah.
Like kept bringing her, like making her get worse, essentially.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I've never heard of that.
Yeah,
So
I hadn't either.
That's a thing.
It's really
and a lot of times, the parent is the one that's called that. But yeah, spouses or significant others or boyfriends and stuff, that it's like their way to control. It's kind of disgusting, isn't it?
Yeah,
it's almost it's like murder if you ask me, but nobody gets in trouble for it. So
yeah,
I mean, he pretty much killed her or assisted in her death.
Yeah, that was awful. Near the end, the Emerson, like the Emerson chapters, I guess you'd say, were just really hard to read because, she was such a good person. And, you just don't want to see someone go through that much kind of suffering. I don't know what that is.
Sorry, I think it's a motorbike or something. Sorry, I'm outside. That's why that is. Yeah.
You're good. You're good. No, you're good. But yeah, I think, it was hard to read that. And he was disgusting. Like, I agree, Lisa. Like, I didn't know that existed either. I guess I haven't watched enough TLC, but, those shows are addicting.
They really are. We were talking about Marley having a positive self-image and how she was so healthy and she cared about being healthy. That I was thinking about why she was overweight. And Lisa, I love what you were saying about the fact that she's big bone. But I also think she just loved to eat. I mean, she came from a family that loved to eat. Everybody just, she's a chef. And I thought that's probably why she was the size she was, but she was totally fine with that because she ate healthy things. She ate a good variety of things and she worked out, good for her. I thought, man.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I know someone else brought up too, I think it was, I don't know if it was in the comments or what we were talking about before, but that how much does, like the parents and the friends play into the self-image? Because the difference between like what Marley grew up with, having a really loving family that was supportive and never was talking down to her because of her size, versus Georgia, who was nothing but ridiculed for her size and everything else pretty much for her whole, childhood and adolescence. I think it does make a huge difference. I mean, if it's like, conditioning, if you have two different things and you watch how they're raised, it for sure makes a difference on the self-image. So
yeah, I mentioned that too. I thought the same thing because I fought with my weight my whole life, and my mom's always been, well, Jen, you met her. She's always been a little peanut and always have worked out, ate well, and never has anybody in my family ever commented on my weight, ever. And never, even to this day, they don't. So I've always been surrounded by people that it just was never an issue. I've never been made fun of. So I couldn't relate with them that way. Well, that's not true. I've seen it happen. But God, I felt so embarrassed for Emerson, didn't you? With how they had to get her out of the house. Like, oh my God, I was just so embarrassed for her. I don't know how I got on that rant, but.
Well, apparently, I mean, one of the things that is in the book about Emerson is that she loved the feel and the taste of food in her mouth. And I thought, that's a valid thing. I mean, obviously she went way overboard with it, but it was a valid thing. She just, anytime she wanted to feel good, that was the way she did it.
Well, that was her drug of choice, right? I mean, eating like that is an addiction. So she needed some serious help. Unfortunately, she wasn't surrounded by the best people to do it. What was that, her cousin or her aunt? God, she was.
Oh, yeah. That woman that lived there in the house with her, oh, she was horrible. She was right there with Hunter. Maybe she and Hunter should.
Like the way she talked about having to lift up the skin to clean her. Like, I've had patients like that, you guys, where it would take us at least 6 people to move a patient just to be able to clean them, because they can't even, I mean, they'd be in their 30s and they can't even get up to go to the bathroom, so they poop all over themselves and they pee all over themselves, and it's all because of weight, because they can't stop eating. It's really, really sad.
Yeah. And I think we had mentioned too before that I think it, it definitely is. I think, I'm not a specialist, but I feel like it's definitely some kind of eating disorder, right? I mean,
absolutely.
I mean, yep. We were saying before, there's a lot more attention on like things that make you very, very skinny, because those can kill you. But I think this one, just as much as those, are really, I mean, obviously detrimental. And I think people just don't kind of want to talk about that kind of eating disorder. I think it's kind of shied away from in a lot of ways.
Why is that? Why is it better that you starve yourself or you make yourself throw up, which Georgia did have that. She had bulimia. But why is that? Why is it that we look at that and we go, oh, that's so hard. I hope you get better. And then we look at someone who compulsively overeats and we go, look, this is your fault. Just stop putting things in your mouth. And it's like, it's the same thing. I am so sad that we don't do a better job of equating those things.
I think we've come a long way, though. I mean, I know we talked about that too, is I don't know. I don't see a lot of people, I don't know, do a lot. Am I just don't ever go out in the world because it's too scary? I mean, are people really getting abused for being overweight like they used to? I guess so. I mean, I guess I just don't experience it. And, or maybe people have said it about me and I just haven't heard, or I just don't give a shit what people say about me. But, yeah. You know, Abby's never mentioned anything about people being overweight at school. My kids, like, it's never been, well, they haven't been overweight in school, but I mean, Abby is a muscular, well, what I would think when we talk about Georgia, no.
Marley.
Yes.
Marley.
Who's the one that's the chef?
Marley.
Marley. So when we talk about Marley, I picture my daughter's weight, like just big bone, muscular. I don't know. I guess it is a thing. People still make
right. I think it's also like who you surround yourself with. Like, I mean, I personally have never been like made fun of or anything. But at the same time, I mean, I can't say it's never affected my like confidence or anything like that. You know,
I agree. Yes.
Yeah.
Sure.
More so in like, I'd say like high school type times, you know, when I was a little bit younger. But yeah, I mean, I think I don't know. I think it does happen though. I mean, I feel like if you get to that level, maybe that's where it's, you know, because I think there is a difference between like overweight and then you can't function, you know. So it was definitely hard to read though.
God, it was so hard to read. And she got that way because, well, I mean, I'm just speculating. She's always been overweight her whole life, but her mom was really unhealthy too, right? Like she kind of fed her as a way of telling her that she loved her. Isn't that right? Emerson's mom?
Well, I think she was just Italian. Just that classic Italian, you know.
No, Emerson. I'm talking about Emerson.
Oh, yes. Yeah, that's how they communicated. That's, you know, how the point of connection, was food. They always did that to make themselves feel better. So, yeah. So, you know, this brings the question, or begs the question, can healthy people and skinny people, I say skinny, but can they have an unhealthy relationship with food, just like overweight people? I mean,
of course.
Does it mean it doesn't exist because it's not showing up on your body?
Well, you might not see it on the outside, but we'll see it in lab tests. We'll see your cholesterol levels. I know a ton of skinny people that have terrible cholesterol levels. I know a ton of skinny people who have type 2 diabetes. So, yeah, I really do think you'll see it. You'll see a lot of GI problems because a lot of them throw up, and that also causes a lot of strain on your heart too, you guys. So but you're right. I don't look at a skinny person usually and think that they're going to be unhealthy.
Yeah, it is definitely like a stigma. I guess that's the best word for it. You know what I mean? But yeah, I don't know. I definitely think people can definitely have bad relationships with food too. I mean, there's a lot of people who they might be smaller, but what does it take to get them there too? You know, what are they doing to get to that size? You know, which not everyone, there's definitely healthy ways to do it, of course, but I think sometimes maybe they're not doing it in the most healthy way. And that's, you know, how they're relating to food as well. You know, like eating nothing and then eating like one big meal or something. There's some weird things people do with food that are probably not the healthiest choice.
True. I was thinking about myself. I don't think I have a great relationship with food. And I think that because food makes me feel better. When I'm not having a good day and I want something in my mouth that's sweet, it makes me feel better. And at this point in my life, I mean, I noticed something that happened a couple of days ago with my hands when I woke up, and I researched it a little bit, and it's got to do with type 2 diabetes. And I really struggle with that. And a lot of it is my age, but I can't eat sugar anymore. And all I want is sugar. I was saying to my husband earlier tonight, I would kill for a piece of chocolate. But I don't want to feel bad. You know, it causes inflammation in your body. Anyway, back to the unhealthy relationship with food. I don't think I have a great relationship with food. I like it, but I don't eat the good stuff.
I think I have a great relationship with food. We love each other so much.
Yep.
Oh, well, I wish I liked vegetables more. Then I would have a great relationship with food.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So, healthy people or skinny people or whatever. Why do you think it is that Georgia never talked to Rafi? She never did. I over and over and over in this book, I kept thinking, just talk to him. Just talk to him. He's your husband. He loves you.
I'll share something really personal because I related with her on this. So I had weight loss surgery. I had the lap band done when Abby was just like 1 or 2 years old. And I lost a ton of weight, and I lost that weight, I don't know, for like 10 years or something. A couple of years ago, something happened to it. I had to have it removed, and I gained weight back like that. But while I was skinny during that 10-year period, after my divorce, I started dating. And do you know that I never told anybody that I dated? I even had like a couple-year relationships that I had that weight loss surgery done, because I felt embarrassed, like super embarrassed about it, where I really feel like she felt like that, like you'd be judged. It's the weirdest thing because it seems so silly not to talk about it, but oh God, I'm glad. God, wasn't he amazing? I just love that guy.
Yes.
Yeah, Ashley and I were talking about how we want one. Can I have one of those? Can I order one on Amazon? Gosh, this keeps happening to me with books and guys and books. Can I just have one of those?
I know. But yeah, I thought it was frustrating, but I also really related with Georgia. I mean, you know, I think it's hard. It's easy to say, like, why aren't you doing this? But if you put yourself in her shoes, I don't know if to that extreme. Like, I don't know if I'd get to the point of like divorcing someone I loved, but I think I understand. I mean, even when you are dating someone or something, it's not something you necessarily want to bring up. Especially if there's someone who doesn't struggle with their weight at all, you know, and you kind of feel like, well, you know, they don't want to hear about it, or you don't want to be, like you said, judged for it or anything like that. But I think we were saying it's a lot to do with her self-image. Like, I think in these as cliche as it is, like, she had to love herself more before I think she could let him love her in a way. And that sounds kind of like cliche, but I feel like it was kind of true for her. I mean, she had to kind of like accept some things before, but he was so perfect. I loved him.
Oh, he was. And I loved what he did there at the end, where she went to the restaurant and he didn't just say, oh, okay. You know, he didn't do that. He was very, you know, loyal to the woman he was dating about it, for one thing, which made me love him all the more. But then when he said, yeah, I realized that you're the love of my life too. And I thought, oh, such sweetness.
Yeah.
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 Go ahead. Were you going to say something?
I lost it. I can't remember. It went in just, it's gone.
Happens to me all the time. So do you all have, I have 2 of the best friends I will ever have in my life, actually 3, and they're all overweight. They all talk about how they're overweight, and I think that they think of me as their skinny friend. And I think I struggle with food and weight and all of those things too, and it's so hard to have conversations with them about those things because I feel like I don't have any standing. Like, when I talk about it, it doesn't mean the same thing to them.
Yes, it does. Yes,
but it does. It does. So do you have friends like that you have to, that you struggle with that conversation?
Well, I had my sister growing up was always a size 0, size 2 at her heaviest. And she tried to gain weight and she couldn't. So she was on the other side of me where people would make fun of her because she was so skinny. And it wasn't that she wasn't eating. She loved food. She just can't gain weight. So I know that, and my point is that, yes, you can, I don't think it's fair for us as overweight people to judge somebody that's skinny that also has an issue with food. Was that the question? I'm so tired.
Kind of. Yeah, kind of. But I'm not a skinny person. I just have a problem with food.
Yeah, I was trying to do a comparison. It didn't go.
Yeah. But yeah. I think that conversation has its limitations because of the way that we all in our society view relationships with food and how we appear on the outside.
Well, I think you need to address that with whoever it is, your friends that's making you feel that way, because they need to know that if they've never been skinny, that you go through the same things that they go through. Like you should be comfortable enough to talk to them about that.
We've had those conversations, so it's fine. But it's just that's an example of that problem.
So you more feel that way than you feel like you shouldn't complain, or your friends or they making, I don't know.
I just feel like I'm walking on eggshells because it's not a fair comparison. I don't think they see it as a fair comparison.
Well, I think if they knew you, Jen,
they do. Trust me, they know me better than anybody.
You fight with your weight all the time, so I don't know why this would even be an issue.
Yeah. Well, it's yeah.
I mean, you swim. You try to.
I used to. I haven't gone swimming in a long time. Anyway, let's move on. Yeah, let's not talk about me. Speaking of friends, how can people stay friends through distance and time? And let me start off this whole part by saying that I and my husband and my kids are all the nomads. I'm the nomad in my group of friends. I'm the one that always moved away and came back. And so, I would maintain those friendships really tightly, and I still have those friendships. But there was a point where I moved closer to where they were. I was about an hour away, but I would always go shopping right around where I used to live, and it would be nothing to drive up there. And I would say, hey, I would, on the spur of the moment, I would call and say, hey, you want to have lunch? And they'd go, oh, I didn't know you were going to be in town. Oh my gosh. It was that mindset that I'd always been, across the country, and now I was going to be in town for a limited amount of time. And we just can never get out of that mindset. So yes, you can maintain those friendships, but large amounts of time can go by and it doesn't make any difference. And so I think that that's the relationship that Georgia and Marley had with Emerson, although Georgia and Marley were much closer. I don't think that they ever felt like they didn't have that closeness with Emerson too. Even though Emerson was the one that kind of alienated herself from them.
Right. It's a good point. I mean, because even though Georgia and Marley were closer, they talked a couple times about how they planned like girls' weekends, and they tried to plan a couple things it sounded like, and Emerson was kind of the one that was like,
she was the one who
didn't want to go and couldn't come. Now, I mean, I guess you could say they maybe investigate why she didn't want to. Like, I guess they could have poked and prodded a little bit more. But I mean, when you think about yourself and like how busy you get in life, you probably just wouldn't think about doing it. You talk on the phone or you text and then you don't. But I think
she was seeing that new guy, so they was in a relationship, and she told them that it was great and they were in love and he was fabulous. And
yeah. I think it is a lot easier now too with technology to stay in contact with texting or FaceTime or whatever it is with friends from home. I live about 6 hours from where I grew up now, and I still I think you can do it, but it takes an effort. I think that's like the word. You got to make an effort, otherwise I think they can fade away.
Yeah.
I have these friends great friends where I can go 6 months without talking to them because life, right? And then all of a sudden you get on the phone and it's like no time has ever passed. And those are special relationships. Those are the bonds that will never break, no matter the time or the distance that you have. I'm sure you guys have friends like that too, where you can just pick up right where you left off.
Yeah. Pretty much everybody in my life is like that. Not everybody, but yeah. Like my sister and those friends I was talking about, we're really close still. And I live, across the country from them again, even though hopefully they'll come and see me because I live in Paris. Yeah.
And Michael brought up a good point that
exactly. I was just noticing that.
Yeah, had a close relationship with the other Emerson. So, which wasn't healthy at all, is what he said. And that's so true. Yikes. That whole thing just, I get it though. I mean, I've talked to myself too before, like, we're going to do this when,
Yeah. I think she was using her diary as like a cathartic, like,
Yeah.
you know, like, which I think is normal to a sense. Like a lot of people write kind of their thoughts through in their diaries, right? But I think the difference is hopefully most people are also having some of those conversations with other people who can maybe say like, whoa, now, like, this doesn't sound good. Whereas I think she was just only saying her thoughts in the diary.
She couldn't get out of her bed, right?
Yeah.
Point that she couldn't go anywhere, and she didn't want anybody to see her because she was super disgusted with herself. And oh gosh, you know, I'm no angel either. I was just thinking this, that, you know, overweight, but I've made fun of skinny people before. I have. I can't help it. Like, I'll ride down the street and I'll see a skinny person running and I'll be like, show off. Or a super skinny person, I'm like, damn, somebody get her a cheeseburger and fries.
My friend Lynette and I would always look at them and go, she can't be happy. Oh, goodness.
I don't know why. I mean, so it's not, I just think we're all guilty to a certain extent. We judge people.
Yeah, we are.
And I mean, I was completely just doing it for laughs. I wasn't serious, but I've done it.
Yeah,
I think we all have, if we're being honest. Yeah, if we're being honest with ourselves, we all have. But, you know, but I think that's the difference. You know, you think about it for a second in your head. You don't say it out loud, you know, filter.
Well, no, I said it out loud. I mean, with my.
Well, not to them, though,
no,
right? No. Not to them.
Oh, God.
So what was the funniest scene in the book for you guys?
Oh, definitely was it the retreat?
Oh, yes, with the colonic. The spa.
Oh, yeah.
No, that was funny.
When, was it Marley that did all the pooping out, like the detox, when she was talking about that? Oh, my gosh, I laughed so hard.
That was pretty funny. Yeah. I thought some of the stuff with Will was pretty funny too.
Oh, me too.
I mean, like, obviously it had a serious tinge to it once you knew why, but his just like personality cracked me up. Like, he was so dry. A lot of his scenes were just like, they were making me laugh too.
Me too. I like that kind of humor though.
Yeah.
I did too. There was one scene, and I hope I don't offend anybody by this, but I thought it was hysterical. I am not Catholic, but I love Catholic Star Wars on May the 4th, where you say, "May the 4th be with you," and also with you. From the Catholic Mass, and they're in yoga class. It's in chapter 33. I looked it up, and the instructor says, "Now fall into ragdoll. I'm in Yamuadisa." Georgia looks at Marley and goes, "And also with you." Oh my God, I thought I was going to die laughing.
Yeah.
They make Catholic references in there. I think it's hilarious. And I think most Catholics would laugh at stuff like that. I wonder if Kristan Higgins is Catholic, because I know what they're talking about, and it was hilarious because I was brought up Catholic.
That whole yoga scene, though, like, was hilarious. Like, I felt like the whole time, like, the friends are just talking to each other, and I'm like, this is what would happen if I went to yoga. like, I'd only have like 50% actually there.
Oh my gosh, I got to go back and read. Let me find it. But there was one place where Marley says, "Well, I'll find it and I'll read it to you."
Well,
wait a minute.
Julia and Renee, I believe they all said this when Marley was jumping on that other guy's back.
Yes.
Remember that?
Yes.
What was it, to take attention off of Georgia? That was hilarious.
That's a good friend right there.
Yes.
Like, that's a good friend.
To take him down.
Yeah. That guy was such an asshat. I'm like, yep. You got that what you deserved.
Okay, I found it. They're going into chair pose. And Georgia says, "I obeyed with my thighs burning, wincing. My breath came in little gasps. Do try to breathe," Marley said. "It will reflect poorly on me if my guest dies." Just another part of the yoga thing that was funny. That whole,
Yeah.
see, I wonder if I think that was funnier because that was Exie Sands. No, that wasn't, that was Lori Gardner. Yeah, the narrators, the way that they said it, I think that's part of why I thought it was so funny.
It was hilarious.
Audiobooks.
Yeah. The race was pretty funny too when Georgia was running in the race, just her inner monologue of like, I'm not gonna make it, I'm gonna die. Like that's pretty much what, like, if I were running a marathon, I'm pretty sure that was my inner monologue. I recently went on this hike up this really steep mountain, and I legitimately think that's what I was thinking 90% of the time. I'm like, just leave me here, come back for me later. So yeah, I thought that was pretty funny.
I've been like that too.
So, okay, that was the funniest scene. What scene was it that made you cry? Or was there one?
Cry. I never even shed a tear in this book, and I think that's why.
You gotta be kidding me. You're such a crybaby. I can't believe you didn't cry.
Really? I cried, but now I don't remember what it was at. I'm trying to think which one it was.
I don't think I ever cried, but I kind of teared up there at the end when Rafi and Georgia got married.
You know, I honestly think I probably got the most like teary-eyed was probably during one of the scenes where they were kind of like coming to realize certain things. Like, you know, they had those couple scenes where both Georgia and Marley were like kind of figuring stuff out, like, you know, about themselves or kind of maybe like mistakes they've made. I feel like that was just emotional because you're like, oh gosh, it's like you could feel it, like them figuring out what they, like with Georgia and how she was figuring out what she did to Rafi and like, oh my gosh, like, well, what have I done? That kind of thing. One of those scenes were definitely emotional. And then for Marley, I feel like Georgia got to me more than Marley did. And I don't know if that's just because of Marley's personality was so much more bubbly, but Georgia's scenes always were more emotional for me to read than Marley's. I don't know why.
Oh, yeah, I agree. What did you guys, we didn't bring this up because I just thought that this was something that didn't need to be in the book, which was another critique of mine and why I didn't get 5 stars, is the whole why Marley had to have that twin. I don't understand.
Yeah.
I cannot see the point.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, we mentioned that. I completely agree. I mean, I get that it's kind of to like further her character development, but I don't think it was needed. I think she had enough to go off of than that, and I just think the twin thing, it was okay, but like I don't know why, but I was not that emotionally attached to that storyline. So, and I think in another book in another way that could have been like gut wrenching, but it wasn't in this one.
I agree.
So, and we were talking because like I am a twin, and so if I'm not emotionally attached to losing a twin, I feel like it just wasn't needed in some ways, you know. So yeah.
Yeah, I didn't think it was necessary. I just was like, it was extra. You know, It didn't need to be. I would much rather have heard more about Will. And Lisa and I were talking about the fact that Will was a total nerd, you know, writes video games, stays in his house, and then he's agoraphobic and, you know, he's got PTSD and all these other things. I would much rather have had him be like on the autism spectrum, like Asperger's or something like that, mildly so, and exploring that rather than this whole twin thing with her. But, you know, I know we had to have that, and it played into how her mother was so overprotective and all of that. So I get it, but I don't know. I could have done without it.
And Will was interesting because at first when you meet him, you almost think he is maybe on the spectrum or something before you know his backstory.
I'm not buying the whole backstory. I really do think, I was telling
you think
Jen,
so?
Sorry. I think he was on the spectrum. Go ahead.
Really? Okay. See, I don't know. I kind of was like, I was mixed feelings the whole time. Because at first I was really thinking he was. But then when we got the whole backstory, I'm like, well, maybe it is just from the PTSD. But at the same time, there were other like personality traits that wouldn't really probably be caused from PTSD. I mean, you know, as far as him in the house. So I don't know. He was an interesting character, and I agree. He was one I felt like we could have gotten a little bit more from. Like I loved him. More. So I'm like, can we get like a spinoff of just like them? Yeah.
Yeah, I was telling Jen, I was like, I wonder why she didn't state that in the book, because it's very obvious to me that he was on the spectrum. But then I said, I looked at it in another way, and I said, you know what? Maybe she did that on purpose, which was kind of genius, because why does everybody always have to have a title? Mm-hmm. Why can't Will just be Will?
A label.
Well, you know what I mean? And so I really think, because I've read everything she's ever written, I really think that I just have this feeling like Kristan Higgins did it on purpose, because we just, I don't know. I think she just wanted Will to be Will without a label. And for us to just fall in love with who he is instead of what we title him to be. But then then if that was the case, then why? I thought the PTSD was ridiculous, unless it was because he was because he had Asperger's or autism spectrum. Because the PTSD to me, that was pretty extreme for. I think was pretty extreme for. I don't know how to say this, like a stable, well, we'll just say a normal mind. Mm. Don't you think? I felt like I don't know. Maybe I'm judging it a little bit too harsh, but.
Yeah. I mean, at first I thought it was. I thought it was a little over the top at first, but once they went into like, he was there, how many people he did see murdered. I mean, I don't know, I mean, it's hard to say how someone would react to that. I would think if she was going to put that in there, she probably did some research on that kind of thing, I would think. But at the same time, I don't know. And it could have been that maybe he's both. Like, you're right. She just didn't say it. Maybe he is on the spectrum somewhere, and that affected it, kind of maybe exacerbated the PTSD to like a higher level. But yeah, I do think I almost prefer it when authors don't tell us labels, because I feel like when they do tell us labels, sometimes it's like shoved in your face a little bit too much, and it kind of like revolves around that. So I kind of liked that. It's kind of like that part's open-ended. So
yeah, I do too, because we get to just learn Will for who he is. And I'm not saying that shouldn't be mentioned in books, because I absolutely do believe that. I mean, mental illness is a huge part of my life, like my whole life. But yeah, I really had a lot of respect for her, that she didn't feel like she had to label him. I loved it. God, I loved him so much. Mm-hmm. And then, you know what? I do remember tearing up now that Addie in the comments.
Yeah, I was thinking the same thing, Addie.
When he showed her birthday party. Yes, I did. I couldn't believe it.
Oh, yeah.
And he was sweating. Sweet. Oh my God, that was the best scene.
He was so sweet. Yeah, I love to see how hard he was working on it, like he was putting in the effort. Yeah, he was going to do whatever it took, and even at the end when they were talking about him and how he went to the grocery store, she's like, well, he came back drenched in sweat, but he did make it back, like he's going to try his best to, make his life work. And I'm like, oh, both of the guys in this book, well, those two guys, the rest were not, but those two were just perfect. I loved them. Yeah.
They were perfect. Yeah.
And I do believe there is still really good guys out there like that too. I don't think she overly made them perfect. Oh, maybe Raffi was a little too perfect. Maybe, I don't know if he's real life material, but Will, I can definitely, I don't know. I feel like there's good guys like them out there.
Yeah. When Raffi, even him, he did have some flaws. Because I mean, even though he is perfect, and some might say he didn't fight for the marriage, I guess you could say, and I don't know if that's just the way that she wrote it and that we didn't actually see it happen. It was just, in the past. But even though I understand why it happened and he kind of didn't think he could do anything, I could see how someone would say, like, he didn't fight for it. And then it was 5 years later before it kind of came to something else. So I don't know. I mean, I think that's just being a human, but so maybe he's out there. I claim him if he's out there.
I got a pretty good one, so I'll just keep mine. It's too hard to train a new one. Oh, Renee, you're right. His speech to her was so good. This is why I love her books, because she, you know, it's build up, and then this kind of thing happens. These speeches between Rafi and Georgia and between Will and Marley, those are what happens. And they just, oh my gosh, they're just, and it's well done anyway. And then you have these huge high points. Mm-hmm. Thank you, Kristan Higgins, for
And then, yeah, I like when you get emotionally invested and then you can cry and laugh, and that's the perfect kind of book for me.
Yeah.
I wish I liked it more than I did, but it's still a really good book. Like, I would recommend this book for sure.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, definitely. Can't wait to see what she comes out with next.
I know. I'm excited to see.
I am too.
I'm going to go start reading the backlist. So,
yes,
you know, I'll see you in like a year.
Well, if you can get it on audio, I love Amy Rubinay. I thought the narration was awesome. Jen doesn't like her. It's just a preference, I think.
I will trade you your Amy Rubinay for Exy Sands.
Yeah.
Well, I know that
Exy Sands, I'd give you Amy Rubinay. It's just a personal preference.
I know that her Blue Heron series, I think, is in the
that's the one.
I think that's in the package for the Audible. I think I have the Audible Romance.
Audible Romance, yeah.
So I think I'm going to listen to it on there. So hopefully I'll like the audio.
Yeah, you probably will.
You do. You'll fly through them and you'll be laughing too. It's
right. I know. I needed a new like lighthearted audiobook. So
yeah, Addie, you think Rafi was a little too perfect? Really?
I have to agree. That's what I said.
But he was a Spaniard. Can they be too perfect? I mean, come on. Yeah. Well, he was an Italian, so yeah, maybe there's the thing. There's the difference.
Okay, so we good with this book?
We're good. And you know what? I have a little surprise.
Awesome.
A little bit of a surprise. I thought that I would go ahead and give away one of these. To go with, where did I put it? The book. Where is the book? I don't know what I did with it. Oh, here it is, right in front of me. Here goes my phone. To go with this. So I have stripes, which go with the blue.
Thank you.
The glare off of it. And then I also have macarons, which kind of go with the book, kind of in the concept of the book. But anyway, what I'll do is pick a person from the comments that everybody's doing, and then you get your choice, and I will get in touch with you and let you know. I will figure it out. I don't know. I'll number everybody and then whatever.
Put all three of them up again, Jen?
Oh, I just have two. It was you liked the blue one and Ashley liked the macarons.
Yeah.
So yeah.
Because they were all perfect. I loved all three of them.
They were all cute, yeah.
Oh, I had another one, yeah. But I thought I would just stick with these.
I picked the blue just because it's my favorite color.
Yeah, it's really pretty.
I want both of them, though.
Yeah. Well, so if you're commenting, I'll let you know. Yeah. So that'll be fun. I wish I could just pick a person now. I don't know how to do it, though. I mean, I don't know how to go back through and my phone off the floor. I don't know how to go back through the comments and figure out, like, yeah.
I'll show you how to do it after. I don't think you can. You want to do the random? You mean?
Yeah.
Yeah, we have to do it after.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, because you have to. Yeah, whatever. But anyway.
Actually, I don't know if you can do it until we'll talk about it.
Yeah.
I don't know if you can pull comments from that random thing with the live chat.
I'm so old school. I feel like I would just like put them in a hat. One.
Me too. I might do that. Yeah.
Just write them down on a piece of paper and pick one.
Yeah. So.
Okay, you want to talk about what next month's book is and the date?
Yes. Yes. Well, we have the books that are picked out, and they are Where One Goes by B.N. Toler. I'm
going to link I'll link the book in the live chat.
Oh, good. Good. Yeah, that's an interesting looking story about a girl. It's ghosts for October. I don't do witches and demons and all that. I just don't want to. So since you are at my mercy, you get ghosts. But there's, it just looks really good. It looks like a wonderful love story between a guy who has, I think he has a twin brother or maybe just a brother who has died. And so there's his ghost and then the other two people. I don't think it's a love triangle, but it just looks really good. And then there's another one, just a very short book that I threw in there because I thought, ooh, that might be fun too. So it's an additional thing. If you want to read it, yeah. I'll be listening.
Sounds
Gosh,
good.
there's a big shock.
Well,
I know.
It's got 7,500 ratings and it's got 4.44 stars. So obviously it's a good book.
That's got really high rating.
This is the one by B.N. Toler, the one
Yes.
Where One Goes.
Yep, and then the second book is coming out. Well, I thought it was going to come out the end of September.
Oh, I thought it was out. What? Did I pick a book that wasn't out?
What's the second one
The
called?
second one. I'm talking about the
What
second
is it
one.
called? What is it called? I forget.
It's called What Lies Between.
Oh,
Who's that by? I feel like I've heard of that. What Lies Between?
It's the same author.
It's the same author.
Oh, that's the sequel to that
Yeah.
one. Well, it's like a companion. It's a continuation of The Ghost.
You don't need
But the other book that I was talking about was in here somewhere. I'll find it. Just give me a second. Let's see. September, October.
Well, it's no longer free on Kindle Unlimited anymore. The Where One Goes.
Oh, it's A Gift of Ghosts is the other one. And I don't remember. Oh, it's by. Oh, I don't remember if I didn't put the author in here. I put the narrators, of course, but I didn't put the author. But anyway, it's another quick one. A Gift of Ghosts.
I don't know why.
I don't think it's even 200. Maybe it's like 200 pages tops, something like that. But it's really quick.
Cool.
Yeah.
Well, that should be
Well, just
fun.
go over to the Goodreads group and you guys will see it there because it's in the so it's on the bookshelves.
Yeah. And I think I linked the narrators for those two. Yeah. The first one is narrated by Chris Ducart and Corey M. Snow. So I know I've heard Chris Ducart before, but I don't know that I've heard Corey M. Snow. So if you know, any of you guys know who that is or have heard them before, then let me know. You know, I always want to know.
I've never heard of Where One Goes, so I'm excited to read it.
I haven't either. But
is it self-published?
Could be. I don't know.
The cover kind of looks like it might be.
It's published by
said,
Amazon Digital, so yeah.
So yeah, it is self-published. Okay. And Julia, you said it's on Audible Romance, so.
Oh, awesome!
There you go. Yeah.
Woo-hoo.
All the more reason to listen.
Which one is Where One Goes?
Where One Goes. Mm-hmm.
Cool.
Oh, well, you know what? I canceled my Kindle Unlimited. Why did I do that? I do that every so often. I'm like, I'm going to save some money. Yeah. And then I'll go and buy it again.
I almost did the other day, so now I'm really excited that I didn't. So I almost did the other day.
Yeah, I've been thinking about dropping Audible, and I don't know if I can do it.
I go through phases with my Kindle Unlimited where I'll read a bunch of books, usually like romance or like self-published ones, and I'll read like probably 5 or 6 in a row. But then I won't read any for like a month, and I'm like, I'll read no other books. So I feel like I'm in that not reading as many month. But then if I hold out, I'll find something like where something will come out where it's worth it. So plus you get such a good discount on the romance package if you keep the unlimited. So that's why I haven't gotten rid of it yet.
That's really true.
Well, mine is too because with Kindle Unlimited, there's so many books that are read and listen for free, or for an extra $1.99, you can get the audiobook and actually own it. You don't give it back. That's why I keep it too, because I save so much money on my Audibles. Like, I don't spend as much.
Yeah.
So I need to go. I guess I gotta go buy it again.
You know, but the thing about the romance package on Audible, those tend to be books that have already been out for a little while, and with Hoopla, I can usually find them there. So it's kind of like, well, is it worth it?
Yeah.
I don't know.
It's funny. Usually Hoopla is really good, but lately there's been a few that I just can't find anywhere unless I want to spend the $24.95 on Audible. So I know, because I just pay for the romance package on there. But yeah, so I usually between Hoopla and the Audible romance package, I can find a lot of audiobooks. But I don't know. I think it's just maybe the ones I was looking for were really new releases and they just hadn't quite popped up there yet. But a lot of them were authors that were already on Hoopla. So I'm just kind of waiting it out to see if they put them up there eventually.
Yeah. Do you have a good, like how many books do you get a month with Hoopla?
I get 8.
Wow.
Yeah. Yeah. So it's pretty good. The only thing is it's connected to my old library where I moved from. So the new library doesn't have Hoopla access the new county, I know. So sadly, I'm hoping that old one does not need to be renewed anytime soon because once it does, I'll be very sad. But yeah, they have Overdrive, but they don't have Hoopla. And Overdrive, you can get some things, but not as many new releases and stuff like that, I find.
How many do I get, Lisa? I share
24,
mine with Lisa.
24, and I used them all this month.
Wow, you get 24 Hoopla books?
Yeah, but see, it's not my library. I was in the dead zone of libraries.
That's awesome.
When I lived up north, but I always have kind of gotten into my mom's. My mom has a great library where she lives in Ohio, so I always just get connected with that. And I actually was walking by their booth at the fair one year, and I said, hey, I often use my mom's account because I don't live here. Is that okay? And they said, yes, use it a lot because then our funding gets bigger.
Awesome.
Yeah. So I don't feel bad about that at all. And it is awesome. 24 books.
That's amazing. Yeah. I think mine's either 8 or 10, which, I mean, to be honest, I probably won't listen to more audiobooks than that in a month. So typically it's okay. But I just wish more libraries would get Hoopla because I think it's such a great resource. But I don't know. Some I think just haven't paid for it yet.
It really is. Lisa, how many do you get with your library? Because it's going to be the same for me down here when I get a new library card.
I think 5.
Compared to 24?
I use yours.
Well, yeah. And, when I get a library card down here, then I'll be able to get the 5,
Yeah.
Well, and my options or my availability, whatever books, is terrible compared to what you get. So Hoopla is not universal when it comes to what books that they let you borrow, and mine is terrible. That's
very true. Yeah. Mine seems to be okay.
I'm really interested to see how it's going to play out down here because I'm in a different county than Lisa's in, and like one county down, and so I'll be interested to see what the offerings are like, how the pickings are.
Yeah.
All right, guys. So Jodi's asking, are there 2 books for October? There is, because the first one that Jen picked, which was Where One Goes, 297 pages, I think. So they're both short, but I think our main one is going to be Where One Goes, right?
Yeah. Yeah, that's the main one. If you want to read the other one, you can. If not, that's fine. Whatever.
Well, Whitney gets 20 with Hoopla. That's awesome.
That's awesome.
Whitney, you are a Buckeye. It's a good thing to be. Yeah, so am I. Yeah. I claim them. Even though I've lived in Indiana for a lot of my life. And my husband was born in Indiana, but he lived in Ohio. So he claims that he's a Hoosier, and I just think, fine, whatever. I'm a Buckeye. I'm staying a Buckeye. They're amazing.
Oh, and Whitney also said try Libby, which mine.
I just
started doing that too.
They're like switching over, I think, like from Overdrive to Libby at my library. So I don't know. I guess I need to look into it. But I tried Scribd, like the subscription for Scribd, and me too. I'm glad you're with me because I signed up for the month, and I'm like, okay, well, this was great at first. I'm like, there's so many audiobooks, and I had tried it years ago and I canceled it because of similar problems. But people were saying, oh no, it's great. You can get all these books, try it again. So I did. And yeah, I don't know if it happened for you, but I think I listened to 2 or 3 audiobooks within I think I listened to one a week or something. And then all of a sudden no books were available. And it said it wouldn't be available for a month. No matter what book. There was really old ones available, but nothing within the past 2 years.
So I went and I downloaded, I picked like 7 of them that I wanted to read or listen to, and they were all available. So then I put it on save. Because Jen, I called you. I'm like, oh my God, I'm so excited about Scrib. And all of a sudden, only 3 of them showed up, and all the rest of them said they weren't available until October 23rd. I'm like, what the hell is this about?
Exactly.
So I'm over
it. I canceled mine too. But they just need to stop having false advertising. It's not unlimited. Now, if you said it's whatever it was, I think it was like $5.99 or $3.99 a month for 3 audiobooks, then maybe people would not be mad. But you can't say unlimited and then take them all away. That's not really fair.
Yeah, exactly. Because I would have picked like the 3 that I wanted,
right?
Instead of I was just like, oh, I want this,
Because they did have stuff on there that I couldn't find other places for audiobooks, but yeah, it's a pain in the butt.
Hey, Anita.
Oh, so what's everybody reading now?
Well, yeah.
I picked up this, which is super good, you guys. If you like historical fiction, it's going to be a romance too. I
love that cover.
Isn't it pretty? It's set in 1911 and then 1997, which is in the 1997 is focused around Princess Diana's death.
Ooh.
So yeah, it's really good.
That sounds good. I just picked up The Good Luck Charm, which I know you just read, Jen, because I saw your review. I'm really excited to read it. So I'm only like maybe 20 pages in right now. So it's really cute so far.
Yeah, it is. It's cute.
Yeah, I liked it too. It was cute.
Yeah. Now, I am listening to, let's see, Fair Coin. Oh, you can't even see it. It's like, it's a YA alternate worlds kind of. I've wanted to read it for a long time. It's McLeod Andrews is narrating. So I love alternate worlds kinds of things. And I don't know why I always gravitate to YA when it comes to that kind of stuff. But I don't know. I wanted to read it for a long time, so I'm listening to that. I'm on chapter 26 of 29, so I'm almost done.
I'm also reading The Broken Girls. I just started it. I started it like a few days ago, but I'm having a hard time getting into it, The Broken Girls, because I'm creeping myself out. I know it's a good book, and I'm actually buddy reading it, and I feel like I'm almost at the point where I'm like, I need to just wait until I can get it on audiobook, because I think maybe that'll help. But I've only gotten like maybe 75, 100 pages in, and I'm already creeping myself out. I'm such a scaredy cat. It's not going well. So
because of the paranormal, I did that as a buddy read, Ashley.
Yeah.
I think Anita, and I know Addie, if they're still in the group. I did it with them and a bunch of other, like 4 or 5 other people. But I remember I was spooked out too.
Right?
That whole, ghosts. And
and I live alone, so I'm like, I can't read this at night. So I know. So I'm still reading it, but I'm having to do it like small bits at a time. Like usually I'm a really pretty fast reader, but this one I'm just reading like 25 or 30 pages and then putting it down.
Like gruesome or
violent,
or it's the ghost.
But I mean, hey,
Mary. Is her name Mary?
Well, it's Fiona is the one in the present, and then
the ghost.
Yeah, I think it's Mary.
Oh
my gosh! Like, hats off to Simone St. James though, because I was creeped out at about page 5. So, like, the atmosphere really was working. But
they have this spider scene in there where I was like, okay, I can't.
No. Don't stop talking.
Yeah.
Spiders. No.
So
hopefully, you guys don't want to creep yourselves out and scare yourselves to death. I don't understand.
I know. Everyone said it was just so good. It's not really my typical book, but because it was like historical too, I'm like, oh, I'm gonna like this, which I still think I will if I can get through it. So we'll see.
Do you guys know what the line that held us? That's what Addie's doing.
That's what Addie's doing. And then Juliet's doing Full Dark Little Stars by Stephen King. Ooh. What is it, you people's fascination with all these creepy books? No. I'll be reading romance. Lots of romance.
It is almost October. Maybe that's why.
There is only so much romance I can handle.
True, but I think maybe I can read the second book in the Nalini sings Guild Hunters. I don't know. It's angels. I'm all about angels. I like angels, but yeah, the rest of it. And vampires, they're okay.
I like vampires.
They're all right. I like Elizabeth Hunter's vampires. Love her vampires because they're cool. And she has a new book coming out. Actually, another book in her Iron Chronicles, which is angelish kind of beings. You know, they're kind of descended from angels and they're part of an angel. I don't know. But anyway, I can't wait.
That's Elizabeth Hunter, you said?
Yes.
I haven't read her stuff.
Oh my gosh. Oh my gosh, Ashley. You got to get
put it down.
Describe on audio because it's narrated by Zach Weber. And what else do I need to say? What else?
I like paranormal. I mean, I go through phases where I really love. I read a bunch like about a month ago, I think it was. I was reading a lot of paranormal.
You did, I remember.
Yeah. But yeah, I also just finished Not So Nice Guy by R.S. Gray. I love R.S. Gray. She writes the best.
Too.
Oh my gosh. Like
I keep looking it up actually because I'm like, when is it coming out on audio? It hasn't come out on audio yet.
But I think that I want to say she was working with a different platform that was doing her audiobooks. Like, I want to say it wasn't Amazon who was going to be doing those audiobooks. So maybe that's why.
Because I remember 2 new ones out now that don't have audio yet.
Yeah.
Doing it without audio.
Yeah. So, but it was really good. So I liked that one. Her books are always good. If you need like a pick-me-up, read yourself an R.S. Gray book. Yeah, they're really funny. Jen
and I got on that kick there for a while too. We did actually, I might have picked it up because of you, Ashley.
Oh, well, you're welcome. Yeah, they're great. All her books are so funny. Like, they just have me. The opening lines of Not So Nice Guy were like cracking me up. They just were so funny.
Which one is it that we read, Lisa? It was the one about the vets? No. The 2 doctors. Yeah. Doctors that moved back to the town. Is that R.S. Gray?
Yeah.
I wanted to say, yeah.
I love her covers too. I just can't.
Yes.
$15 for a paperback. I can't do it.
No, I usually read them on Kindle, even though I really like the I like the covers, but I just can't force myself to pay that either. So I usually buy the Kindle.
Who was it? Renee, you said you were going to read Vox. Didn't I read Vox? I think I read Vox.
Yes, you did. You read it with me, and it was so good. It was about the 100 words a day.
Oh, yes.
Loved it.
That was so good. Oh, Renee, you're going to love it. You're going to love it. Yep. Okay, ladies. Well, is that it? Are we done?
Yeah.
Have we talked ourselves to death yet? I mean, I could stay on and talk to you guys another 2 hours. Oh my gosh.
Yeah, I have to go focus. You
have to study and I have to pack because I am moving out of this place tomorrow. Everything's at the new house except for what's here right now. So
good luck.
Thank you.
Moving can be a little stressful, but I'm sure you got it.
Yep. I'm good at it.
We're only like 25, 30 minutes from each other now.
Oh, that's awesome.
Yeah. That is going to be nice.
Yeah. Awesome. Very cool.
Yeah.
Well, awesome seeing your beautiful face.
Oh, well, it's lovely seeing you guys.
Yes, drink some pumpkin spice or eat whatever.
You know what's funny is I moved more north than where I used to live. I lived in Florida, so now I'm in Georgia, and it's still hot. It's so beautiful, but it's still hot. And I'm like, where is my cool weather? So
it's even hot up north. Even though
I'm telling you, it's global warming or something. But yes, I will drink some pumpkin spice.
Yeah, I saw that coming out at Starbucks, and I thought, what? It's 90 degrees outside.
Yeah, that's why you just get it.
Acclimated yet.
Get it iced. But but it's really nice. But I'm ready for some cold weather, so maybe we'll get some.
You can have it.
Just send it all this way. Just send it up.
No problem. No problem. Okay, love you both.
Bye.
Thank you guys for coming. Thank you guys for everything. Yeah. And we'll see you soon.
Bye.
Bye.
Bye.